Over the last week, I've had at least 3 different disgruntled, upset, or angry DMs. Not angry at me, but angry at the current situation around the Marvel Secret Lairs. To take one example, the Black Panther Secret Lair here, you can see there are 7 copies of it available on Card Market at the moment, with the cheapest one being a non-foil copy at €129.99. Bearing in mind it's sold for €50 on release, but if those of you that don't know or haven't been following, people queued for anywhere from an hour to 5 hours to get their secret lairs, and some people on the other end or the top end of that scale didn't get their secret lairs or didn't get what they queued for. I've got a whole video covering the sale and how it was on the channel. I will link to that in the description below in the cards to this video. But with people sending me messages and screenshots, I'm just being really frustrated that they either didn't get what they wanted or didn't get all of what they wanted. Meanwhile, they're jumping up online at like double or triple the price. I did want to speak to that a little bit. I asked the question on Twitter yesterday, how do you feel about this statement? All these MTG scalpers fucking suck. 89.8% said agree. I mean, we knew where this was going, right? 4.6% disagree, and 5.6% clicked results. I put the results in there because people moan when I don't put results in there, but I don't really know why you would click results other than like just not knowing enough. Did 5.6% of you not know enough to make a judgment on this? What this tells us is that there is a disgruntled or upset feeling towards the scalping of Magic product. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that in today's video. Before we get too far into it though, do you consider yourself a bit of a game designer? This is an ad spot of sorts, but I'm also asking for your help to create something new. Axions now are one of the best, if not the best, tournament organizer in the UK. They have a great relationship with the community and a great relationship with judges, and they hold fantastic events. And their 10-year anniversary event is coming up. There'll be a link in the description below, because I guess technically this is sponsored because they've invited me to the event and gave me a badge, but the event is going to be Magic and Lorcana, but more excitingly, I've got an event there that I need your help with. I'm calling it PleasantKenobi's Community-Driven Chaos Shift. The event will be multiple pods, many pods of 4-player Commander. You will be playing Commander if you enter the event, but in the background there's me, the MC, with a microphone, and I'm going to guide you through a chaotic shift from plane to plane. I'm talking plane shifts, but you won't be rolling plane or die to shift. Instead, periodically, I will just interrupt you, ask you to pause, and I'll shift us to the next plane. And there'll be an effect, and the games, every single game in the event will be affected by the plane. But the cool part is not using those cringy, well-designed planes by Wizards of the Coast. No. We all know the average internet goer is better at designing cards, so you at home can design the planes to be used in the event. There is a Google form down below in the link in the description, and you can use this to submit your plane. I'll explain more on that in a moment. But in essence, your plane will be attributed to you. I may tweak it a little bit, especially the flavor, if I think it'd be funnier to say we're flying to Slough or to Swindon, for example. I'm expecting at least several hundred responses from this. I've already got at least a dozen from the initial test run on my Discord. So I will be picking between 25 and 30 of these. No phenomena, all planes. The intake will end approximately a week from this video coming out on the 20th of November to allow me to actually get a judge to look at these and make sure they all work. So here's a couple of points about designing your plane. I know this is one of my videos, but the planes will be on display in a hall for a tournament, so don't make them too rude or naughty. I may adjust the name of the plane or a little bit of the wording to make it work within the game or to make it a funnier punchline. I will note the ones that get changed with some asterisks so people know that I've done a little edit. The effect should strive to work within the borders and the confines of black border magic. We're not looking for uncards. We're not looking for singing or dancing or shoes being taken off. Players cannot plane shift. Instead, I will be moving us between planes at my own whim and will, and I will be sequencing them to make the game feel fun and interesting. Plane shifting only occurs when I want it to, but chaos, this bit down here, does work. The players can use the normal plane chase rules to roll dice. The first roll is always free. Each roll costs 1 additional mana to do, so the second roll is 1 mana and the third roll is 2 mana, and in essence, when you hit a 6 or the chaos one, if you've got an actual player and chaos die in front of you, you will hit the chaos effect. And thus your planes need a name, a effect when you hit it, or a static effect from being there, which is thematically tied to the name, and a chaos effect. Good luck, have fun, and I will be tweeting about this on the day. Across the weekend, on the 23rd and 24th of November at Axions Now's 10th anniversary event, I'll tweet out so people can see the planes we end up going to, and attributed and credited to the appropriate people who made this possible. I just think it'd be fun to have some community-driven planes built. Anyway, it's a big bit. On with the rest of the video. So, scalpers. The term itself is a a little bit of a problematic one. There is some baggage there to do with history and culture and race that I want to move away from. So for the rest of the video, I am going to talk about price gouging as opposed to the term scalping. I'm only mentioning it here because just by virtue of how language works, it's the bit that most people will understand. But price gouging is the same thing. It is the exercise of buying something and then selling it once you've got the item at a higher price. But the way that gouging actually works is that you're buying a limited run or a finite amount of something. So when the original stock runs out and no one can get hold of it anymore, you're selling it at a gouge, an inflated price to make some money. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with the idea of making money off of the sale of cards, collectibles, or game pieces. The issue with gouging in particular is that you are often buying with the intent of drying up a supply for people who realistically want to use the item and then selling it at a profit. Now, some might argue this is just a innocent byproduct of commerce or arguably capitalism. What I would say is there is an amorality to it, a negative side to it. I don't think it's morally correct to take something away from someone that wants to use it in order to sell it back to that person at a premium or higher price. I think there is a negative there. And whilst accessibility is a big thing that I champion on this channel, I'm not adverse to people making some money on cards, as long as the accessibility isn't damaged, as long as people can't get hold of the game pieces to play with. And that's the first point of call here, right? Is that these things are mechanically unique and we don't know when the reprint is coming. So this isn't just that people can't get hold of the skins that they want, these are cards that they can't actually play with unless they own, unless you proxy. But I mean, arguably Wizards of the Coast and game stores don't want you proxying if they are, you know, Wizards endorsed and similar. There's a bit of a difficult ground there. I personally have no problem with proxying, and that solves a lot of these issues. But either way, having mechanically unique cards gouged is a much bigger issue than skins or collectibles. But even beyond that, the bigger, wider issue is that in this case, for this lair, this is a much bigger issue because of how much of a shit show the initial sale was. People got into the queues early. People checked out with more items than they should have done. People checked out multiple times with the cap of items. People skipped the queue entirely. The entire thing was fucked, and they didn't print enough of them either. So many people end up being disappointed, not being able to get the foils they wanted, or the lairs and tiles they wanted. The whole thing was sold out almost completely within around 6 hours. A few things were left over. I think in Europe we woke up the next day to Black Panther still being available in non-foil, for example. So it's one thing for an item to get price gouged, you know, over time. It's one thing for someone to get something and then like a year or two from now sell it on at a profit. It's one thing to just make a profit from an item. But the fact that so many people were left like hanging, unable to get the item, but then to show up a week later on Card Market or TCG Player for 3 times the price. And by the way, these items are selling. Sure, there's this ambitious one here of someone called Prima Rosa trying to sell a fucking Wolverine lair on Card Market for 500 euros, which is probably just them putting up and hoping someone bites. But the reality is, just yesterday, we had 3 items sold for the Foil Storm Secret Lair on TCG Player, selling at between $164 and $192 each. People are biting. And there's this argument to be had that if people are willing to pay, then why would you put it up at a lower price? Sure, I get that. And if you're an individual who bought just 2 and sold on 1, again, I'm not that bothered. I think price gouging in general is amoral. I don't think it's the correct thing to do, but also in a world where everyone's trying to make their way and it's getting increasingly more hostile towards people with the cost of living and inflation, I don't begrudge someone making a few extra bucks. The reality of the matter is, all of this can be solved by one simple thing, and that simple thing is completely in the control of Wizards of the Coast. Previously, when Secret Lairs were printed to demand, you had a longer window to get them. Sure, maybe you haven't got access to the extra cash or disposable income for that 30-day period. That is unfortunate, it's not ideal, but it's way better than having a 4-hour FOMO window where you're pushed to buy, otherwise you're shit out of luck buying on TCG Player for 3 times the price. I banged this drum in the previous video, I banged this drum in a video about this like months ago when the changes got made. I've banged this drum a lot and I will continue to do so, especially in reaction to how the community is feeling about the price gouging. That the print to demand method fixes all of this. This is not an issue when print to demand is involved, as opposed to this limited print run FOMO nonsense. That means a lot of people will end up disappointed and frustrated at the price gouging going on. But are Wizards of the Coast listening? I don't think they are. If anything, this is working as intended. The item sold out immediately with 0 uncertainty, and thus they can go to a future potential IP partner and explain to them, look how much money you can make with absolute certainty and no chance of a loss, or product rotting on shelves, or digital shelves if you will, or product just damaging the brand. And that's an important part of the whole non-limited thing that I didn't really talk about in the last video, is that the certainty that you sell out is huge. Look at Anniversary Edition, or whatever the fuck they called it. The $1,000 for 4 boosters of proxies. That stuff did not sell. Wizards of the Coast had to conclude the sale early and and give that shit away. And it looks bad. It looks bad to your shareholders. It looks bad to all your stakeholders in future when they see that actually perhaps you've got shit left on shelves because you're not good enough. It makes the brand look very bad. So selling out with a certainty, knowing you'll make X amount of money and you don't have anything left over, having a secondary market and a collector hype buzz of people trying to get hold of it after the fact for more money, it looks great for future investors who want to know that their product's going to be respected as a premium collectible in the trading card game markets. And all of these words make me want to shit myself with rage. It is fucking ridiculous that I have to say this shit out loud. It is just aneurysm, fucking prolapse inducing nonsense bullshit. But here we are. People are online selling them at a premium, and they're selling at a premium. Some of these places are game stores, and that's another thing. I'm not begrudging game stores necessarily doing this. I still find it frustrating. People are clamoring to get the product, holding onto it for a week and selling it for higher, like toilet paper during the fucking pandemic. At least in this case, is luxury cardboard not a necessity. Let's be honest, I make the little joke there, but that's a truthful element we have to consider. This is not a necessity. But all of this can be fixed by the changes that Wizards could do to the distribution of Secret Lairs, and we know they're not going to do it. And that's why I keep making videos about it, because I want people to talk about it. I want it to be a constant hum in the background that might, it just might make someone at Wizards of the Coast reconsider the situation that they've currently got themselves in. So ultimately, my takeaway from considering this a little bit over the last 24 to 48 hours and then sitting down to record is that I don't begrudge people making money on cardboard. I really, really don't, especially when accessibility isn't damaged. But in this case, accessibility is damaged because if we don't include the idea of proxying everything, some of these cards just aren't available to the general populace because they sold out so quickly and now being sold at a 3 times price increase. And beyond that, I still don't really care that much if you had access to them for a larger window. It's funny because doing this reduces Secret Lairs back to what From the Vaults kind of were. I did a whole video on this. There was a rose-tinted glasses moment recently where some influencer said, oh, I know who it was, I'm just not trying to fucking dog on this person. But they were like, remember From the Vaults? They were so great. And it's like, no, they fucking weren't. They were such a limited print run that the stores that had them or got hold of copies of them would just bump the price up. Because if they didn't, they sold at RRP and then someone else just did that on eBay instead. So the stores were making the money instead of the end user or person buying it from them. And the whole thing just was a feel bad for pretty much everyone involved. We have the exact same situation happening now, but instead of the stores at least making some money out of it, some of the stores are making money out of it. Meanwhile, most players and collectors are left just holding fucking nothing and just looking at the prices creep up on the secondary market. And it sucks. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, but I'm pretty sure I know the energy that's going to be down there. But you know what? Sing your fucking heart out. We got to say it somewhere, so why not say it in this comment section? Price gouging sucks, and I just wish Wizards of the Coast would do something to address it. And we have literal, actionable things they can do as feedback. I just doubt they will. I've been Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. And don't forget, submit your custom plane down below, and it might just get picked to be played in our cool event at Axions' 10th anniversary. See you soon. Ta-ta for now.